Welcome to Literally Books, the podcast where we read literally anything because it shouldn't be a saga to find your next favorite read. My name is Magda.
And I'm Lindsay.
And today we're going to be talking about Mate by Ali Hazelwood.
Woo! That's my howl, my wolf howl.
Very good. It's really good, very in tune. I loved it.
Been practicing it?
I figured for the past week. And as you guys know, this is the highly anticipated sequel to Bride. So we're so excited to kind of talk about this. But before we get started, Lindsay, what have you been reading?
Okay, so we have been preparing for the Texas Book Festival and reading some books by some of the authors that are coming to visit us. And I started the Broken Blade series by May Corland. And the first book is called Five Broken Blades. Have you heard of the series?
I have seen it and heard of it, but I have not read it. How is it?
It is so freaking good. It's interesting because I know from social media that she and Abigail Owen, who wrote The Games Gods Play, are like pretty good friends. Like I see them post together a lot. And they are, the tone and the writing style, like not the premises, but like the writing style is very similar across those two books. And I'm freaking obsessed with it.
I love that because I think with like the Games Gods Play, we started reading it and we could not put that book down for like a while. Such an addictive way of writing. So I can't wait to read this.
It's so like, it's basically like these six people come together all from extremely different backgrounds. We have like a disgraced prince. You have a poison maiden. You have a son of a lord. You have a street thief. You have like this muscle guy. Like, and it's one of my favorite things where it's like a group of people who all, you get each one of their perspectives and they're all kind of moving closer together as the story progresses until they all meet. And so it's like such a good buildup. And I'm so into the series. And there are a lot of like twists and turns and like, I'm so into it. I'm so into it.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, I'm going to add this to my TBR, but like you mentioned, we have so much to read over the next few weeks, but maybe this could be a cozy read for the winter time. We'll see.
It's not cozy. I will say like there's a lot of death in it. It's like got some dark subject matter, but I love dark subject matter. So I don't know. I'm so obsessed with this series. It's very adult, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a romantasy type of thing?
No fantasy. Okay. Well, no, that's not true. I just said that and then I'm like, oh no, there are definitely like 5 magical objects that this story is based around. But like that should tell you like it doesn't read like romantasy. Like the fantasy is very extremely peripheral. It doesn't really come up that often. So yeah, it's much more like a folklore novel. I don't know. I'm really into it.
Okay, I love that.
What about you? What are you reading?
So I just finished reading one of the books that we're going to be covering in the podcast pretty soon. And it's Innocence Road by Laura Griffin, who she's also going to be on the pod. And I'm so excited to talk to her about it. This is what, if you're into procedural mystery thriller type of like cop shows, this is gonna be the book for you. This is a perfect book to kind of take on like a summer trip where you're just gonna sit by the beach and just read like a little bit of a mystery. It was just perfect. The premise, it has to deal with like this police department in Marfa, Texas, and they're kind of trying to investigate this killer that is kind of turning out to be a serial killer. But there's a lot of politics that go into this because a lot of the bodies that are being found have been attributed to like just migrants crossing, and you can kind of tell like the disdain that a lot of different like people in power and government, they're like, oh, we don't really care about that. Who cares? But then you have like on the other side of it, these really rich, powerful families where their kids have also disappeared and they're putting a lot of pressure into the department that can potentially lead to some issues. So you can kind of see a little bit of the push and pull that this police department is going through and the politics around it. So it was just so fun to be able to kind of see that because yes, you're reading for entertainment, but you can kind of see like the very real life politics that are ongoing in like South Texas, you know? So I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. It's so fun. And I think Laura does such a great job at pulling the twists and turns of the story, which you really need this for this type of like a thriller book. I did not see the ending coming. So it made me really excited because it was just like, oh my gosh, this thing that happened in chapter 2 is going to pay off in chapter 40. And I don't know. I just loved it. It filled my cup, like sometimes we say, because I needed that type of like fun little thriller mystery in my life.
I know we're going to be talking about like cozy reads for winter, and truly nothing is better than a procedural to me. If you can't tell, listeners, just listening along to Magda and I, we are both recording this from our sick beds. Like, I sound like a mouth-breathing psychopath right now. So I need a book like this to get me through the next couple of weeks as I am in my recovery. But I freaking love a procedural, and I'm so excited to talk to her.
Yeah, she did such a good job. And I have so many questions to ask her because she just comes across so knowledgeable, like about the standard operating procedure of like the police and how like investigations go and how evidence works, how the different police departments within different cities work with each other and the competition that they're in. I just loved it. It was just like I don't know if it's real because I don't know much about that world, but I was just like, I'm learning about the politics between the police department. This is great.
The bureaucracy of police investigations, like even as you were saying, like the amount of effort that they put into the case based upon who is the victim, like all of that stuff is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, and like I love. I can't wait till we talk about this because there's so much that we're gonna have to discuss. But it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and we'll be releasing this episode mid-November, guys. Just if you guys are curious. All right, you want to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be right back.
Let's do it.
Welcome back, everybody. So now we're going to start talking about Mate by Ali Hazelwood. But before we get started, a couple of call outs. This episode does contain spoilers. So if you haven't read it, maybe just kind of turn around and come back to this episode at a later time. And maybe go listen to our Bride episode because that can kind of set you up to start reading Mate if you have forgotten about a couple of the plot points.
I had forgotten. Had you forgotten?
I did. I listened to our episode and it refreshed my mind on a lot of things. See? And I'm like, oh, yes, this makes sense.
We cheated off our past homework. I know. I was like, wait, who? What? That was a very complicated novel in a way that I had not remembered. So yeah, I definitely had to cheat by listening to our episode.
Yeah, totally recommend it. I think if you kind of forgot about some of the plot points or if you already read Mate and kind of wanted to get like a little refresher on Bride, I think this is still going to be worth it. So go check out that episode and then come back to Mate once you finish reading that one. And then maybe let's do a little synopsis so we can kind of start chatting about this book.
And this synopsis will contain callbacks to Bride so that are relevant to the story. So we are going to give you a slight cheat sheet here.
All right. So Mate is the second book in Ali Hazelwood's romantasy series after Bride. In Bride, the reader is introduced to Misery, a vampire who is battered into marriage with the head of a rival werewolf clan, Lo, in order to broker peace amongst the weres and the vampires.
Misery agrees in order to search for her missing best friend, Serena, who we learn has been abducted by Misery's own father after it is found out that she is not in fact human, but a highly prized were-human hybrid.
Bride ends with Misery, her brother Owen, and Serena overthrowing Misery's father's seat of power and attempting to reestablish relations between the weres, the humans, and the vampires.
Mate picks right up after where Bride leaves off, with Serena being freed and in Misery and Lo's care. In order to keep her safe, though, and to hide the existence of the only other known were-human hybrid, Anna, who is Lo's adorable 7-year-old sister, Serena hides out in the Northwest Pack with Lo's father figure / brother figure, Cohen, which we'll talk about Cohen in a second here. Keep going.
Cohen announces that he is, in fact, Serena's mate.
The two are thrust together to keep Serena safe, with multiple parties trying to harm Serena, including vampires and a mysterious were cult. And because it's an Ali Hazelwood book, the forced proximity gets the characters tied into knots.
Good job, Lindsay. Good job placing some of the puns in there.
Thank you. Very complicated backstory to this. Very complicated story.
When she mentioned that its story was going to be about like Misery's sister, Misery's friend. I was just like,
well, maybe we're not going to call each other sisters. You know, they're not biologically sisters, but they grew up as sisters.
Yeah, that's fair. But I thought I was just like, oh, okay, I'm not going to have to reread Bride. But when I was reading, I already forgot about the whole hybrid situation and that she was putting herself at risk and that she was kidnapped. And I was just like, so yeah, it was... I don't want to say it was kind of complicated, but I think it's worth it for you to either reread Bride or just kind of go read your notes if you took any notes, or go listen to our episode like we talked about it earlier, because it's going to help quite a bit with the context of this story for Mate.
1000% you have to have read Bride, because they reference so many, like, I I think this is like just high level thoughts. I'm just going to get into it. I'm obsessed with this book. I loved it. And I think I'm so proud of Ali because it is such a 180-degree turn for her in terms of like from her other romance novels, which I also love. I love, love, love them. But this is interesting because it's so much more world building, complexity in the political systems, complexity in the backgrounds of these characters. Like it's just such a different book. And in order to get the like true layered nature of the relationships between the werewolves, the humans, the vampires, the hybrids, the significance of all that, you really have to read them both together.
Yeah. And I also think that her character creation is getting better and better. I think Serena is the first FMC in Ali's world. You know, we can always like, oh, that could be me, but not really. Like Serena, to me, was the most relatable character that I have read of hers. Like the way that she reacted to situations that she was kind of thrusted in with a lot of stress because people are trying to cause her harm and all of those things are exactly the way that I handle those type of problems. And I love that. Like, I think the more that she's written, like her characters are becoming, I don't want to say more realistic, but like I think their actions and the way that they act in a lot of situations is becoming more real to me and more relatable, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, there is something like I completely agree with you. Serena's maybe one of my favorite characters. I also love Misery. Like Misery is a character who I relate to.
Yes.
And I love Ali. And this is just like, don't come for me. I love Ali's books. This is a light criticism. But like sometimes her girls, they're not damsels, but they're like very not in touch with their like femininity in any way. Like they're always like, I can't believe that he even remembered me, or like I'm so disgusting looking. And I have like, that's the only like thing about her books. Like it's satisfying, but like really like if you are a person who like runs through the world and you're attractive, like it's very hard for you to be that unaware of it, really, you know, like like your existence is different. And so sometimes in her previous books, I've always been like, how do these girls not know that they're like literally like eye candy and like catnip for the men around them? And I don't get that from Serena. Like, I think she feels like a sidekick, but she doesn't feel like someone who's like not aware of herself. Like she feels very fully formed to me. I don't know. I'm rambling.
Yeah, no. I completely agree. Like I think I didn't get the vibes of Serena being like a side character. Like this book, I'm glad that it gave her the platform that it deserved for her because she is so fun. She's so witty. She is such a normal person in the way that, to your point, like she knows what she brings to the table. She knows her personality and she just goes with it. But like she knows that she's not ugly. Like I think maybe when she compares herself to Misery, she feels like, oh, we're like so different. Like Misery is like this like thin, beautiful, elegant person. And me, I'm just here like just living through life. Whatever. I'm just a human. But obviously she's a hybrid. But I really appreciated the way that she, I don't know. I'm rambling to you. And I think I just loved her because I feel like she's the most relatable character in Isla's world that I'm like, I could see myself in Serena. Quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think that Misery and Serena together, like that why I love this series so much is they're a good pairing of different ideals of like female main characters. Like Misery is cool because she's very like, she's cold, she's a little bit indifferent. She is like, what I like in a character is when a female main character is supposed to be like unlikable but then kind of wins you over, you know? And she does a good job of Misery making her these sort of like unaffected, sort of hard to reach, like lithe, tall, beautiful, but like a little bit cold, but then with like a soft underbelly. Like that's cool. I like that character. But Serena is her complement in every way. Like she says in a few times in the book, like, I was raised to be Misery's companion. I was always kind of second best. And then you get this like very fleshed out version of her in Mate. And she's Misery's opposite. She is like she says, like she's curvier, she's shorter. She is like very traditionally like this different kind of feminine. She loves children. She's very warm. She's very like caretakery. And I think that it's very cool that you have like these two different female main characters that are not in competition with each other. They are like needed for each other. They're highly bonded. There's no conflict between them. And I just think that's so cool.
That was my favorite thing about them too. I think the relationship, we continue to see the relationship between Misery and Serena, and they're so close bonded. Because they did grow up together, but you can kind of see that, to your point earlier, how Serena and Misery, they refer to each other as sisters, because that's truly what they are. Like that, they've only had each other for so long, and I love continuing to be able to see that relationship between them and how each of them are able to call each other out on their BS. So it just kind of shows like the true level of relationship. And I think we even saw this in Bride, where before Serena was abducted, they got into like a really big fight. So I love that it like the relationships among them, like it's so real. Like they are fighting with each other, they love each other, they get annoyed at each other, they like spat with each other. Like it's just such a real, true relationship that we're continuing to see. It's not just like what this one-dimensional thing between the two of them where they're just like, and they're great and they love each other. No, like it's a relationship. So you're gonna have complexities that go into it, and you really get to see that continuation in Mate. And I love that.
Fair to say that you liked the book then?
I did, and I kind of want to say that I liked it better than Bride, which I didn't think that was possible. But I think this is way better than Bride. I really enjoyed it. But maybe do we want to kind of talk a little bit about Serena and like on what she was going through, because I think that's kind of important for her character. So, you know, we know that Serena is kind of, she's hiding that she's sick, and she doesn't want a lot of people to know. So she's going through this thing. I forget what it's called, like a CSD disease,
cortisol surge disorder. Yes.
Which, by the way, when I Googled this, I'm like, what the heck is CSD? Because they don't tell us what it is for a while. They just say CSD for a little bit. I looked it up online, and it just says cat scratch disease. And I'm like, is that a real thing? Anyways, it's not that. It's not a cat scratch disease. It is cortisol surge disorder. It's pretty much like a hormones.
Googled it. I just assumed it was made up for the book. The cat scratch disease, even better. Yeah.
I was just, I mean, I know that Ali loves cats, so I was just like, okay, that kind of tracks. Maybe it is some sort of a cat weird disease.
Cat scratch fever.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's a real thing. So this is just pretty much like a little bit of a hormonal thing that she's going through, and it's pretty much her hormones and her body are becoming not hospitable. So it looks like she's potentially going to be dying. So she's getting like these really weird mood changes. She wakes up in the middle of the night with like really high fevers, and like she's just pretty much, all the doctors told her that she's going to be dying. And this is the thing that I found to be the most relatable. Dude, she didn't want to tell anybody. And that is something that I totally do, and I would do with something. If I'm going through something really, really hard, I don't want to put that burden on other people. Like that is,
as your friend, I'm gonna beat you up if this ever happens and you don't tell me.
But it's a real thing. Like I will like avoid it. Like I've gone through multiple times. Like I don't tell anybody. I'm like I got this. I don't want to burden other people. So I know maybe for some people maybe that was kind of annoying, but to me I'm like, I totally see that. Maybe that's why I love Serena so much, because I saw myself so much in her in the decision making that is so stupid that I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
No, but I also think like she talks about this a lot too, where like people treat you differently if they think that you're like going through something or you're like sick or whatever. And I think right now she's like, I don't want that. I don't want to be treated differently. I don't want my relationships with people to change. And I don't want to be a distraction from keeping Anna safe, from Misery dealing with all the crap that's happening in vampire world. Like she just doesn't want to be a burden, basically. And she's like raised to basically not want to be a burden, right? Because she's meant to be Misery's companion. And so that's like, it makes sense that she would have that reaction. And Ali does a really good job of characterization, because her entire life has been being a support system for other people. And so having the focus shifted to her would be awful in her mind, because it's like completely antithetical to how her entire existence has been.
Oh, that is such a good point. And it probably explains why she has this innate feeling of always trying to play the role that is going to help other people. Like the amount of times that she volunteered herself as bait in this book.
Yes.
Like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, oh, we can just use me as bait. And then all the vampires will come. Or you can just use me as bait. And then the cult followers are going to come and get me. Like she just kept volunteering herself as bait. And I wasn't sure if it had anything to do with like, she wanted to make sure that her death had meaning. One of them, because she was pretty positive.
That's such a good point. I didn't even think about that, but of course, yeah.
So it was like, maybe it's that. Like she's like, okay, if I'm gonna die, it better mean something. Or 2, which is kind of what you mentioned earlier that I thought was a good point. That's how she was raised. She was raised to be able to be less of a burden. So by her sacrificing herself, she's taking that option away from other people. So you can kind of read into it either way, I think.
Okay, I think on that front, you talk about being her wanting to be used as bait. Can we talk about the cult a little bit, which is part of the reason that I love this book so much. It's part of the reason that I love a cult storyline. Like it's whether I like Beach Read so much too by Emily Henry. Like a cult storyline adds fascinating stakes to me. Do you want to talk about the cult a little bit? Like give us a little background?
Okay, so we kind of started learning a little bit about Cohen, which we haven't even talked about him yet.
We'll get to him last. We'll get to him. Cohen.
But he is our alpha werewolf of the Pacific Northwest, and he came into power when he was really young. He was about 15 years old, and the reason why he came into power is because there was this big cult following where these werewolves were pretty much promising humans that they were going to be able to turn them into werewolves. Like if they believed enough and then they cohabited enough, they were going to be able to have like this peaceful upbringing and be able to bring people. But in reality, it was just like, as usual, just a cult for the main guy to be sleeping around with other people and trying to control other people, and just him feeling like the main Constantine, it was the guy's name.
Constantine, such a shit. Yeah. A great name. Perfect name for a cult leader. Perfect name for a cult leader.
We need to do an episode about perfect name characterizations, because
oh my gosh,
this is definitely one of them.
So good.
Not Lily Bloom. Still remember. Sorry, shouldn't have said that. No offense.
Lily
no
Blossom
offense.
Bloom.
Blossom. That's right. Lily. But Constantine, great evil name. So they thought they had defeated all of this, the cult following back in the day, like over 20 years ago, but they actually did not. And there's a little bit of they didn't eradicate all of the followers, so they're starting to put their numbers back together, and they want to be able to enact revenge and try to potentially kill the Pacific Northwest pack, because they feel like they're responsible for killing the leaders and destroying the peace and everything. And it just kind of leads us into this cult that is being risen back again.
And I think it's so interesting too that like Serena, who is a person that is in her life always feels like she's not the center of things, like she's not really even the main character in her own life, is in the context of this cult someone that's viewed as like the chosen one. Like in their mind, she is the culmination of this promise, which is like a relationship, a fusion between humans and werewolves.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, like she's the center of it. And I think her name, they call her Eva because she's like the first of her kind. And they kind of see her as this bright beginning of potentially the new generation is going to be able to be a hybrid between a werewolf and the human. So maybe the humans didn't even think that maybe they were going to turn into werewolves, but they're like, maybe our children can. And Eva or Serena, it's proof of that. And like, I think Serena even says this to a couple of the followers. It's like, that's not how this works. I'm a generic mutation. This is not normal. Like there were things that had to happen biologically speaking for me to be here. And she's the exception. It's not something that is going to continue on. But I think you called this out in the notes, that it just shows the lack of knowledge and how a lot of these cults try to keep knowledge outside of their little world, because they know that education is power. And if they start questioning or poking around a little bit more, then might not want to be able to follow this guy anymore. So it's kind of fascinating how all of those things kind of come into play.
Yeah, that part is like maybe one of the most like true, I think, to a cult experience, where she's talking to, I don't know how you pronounce it, Nele, Nele, Nele.
Call it Nele, but yeah.
Nele. She's like a very young girl in the cult, and she is like how you sort of get a little bit of like empathy for the people in the cult, because she's obviously been sequestered completely from the rest of the human world. She's lived with this were-human cult her basically entire life. And spoiler alert, we learn that Serena is Constantine's daughter with one of the human cult members, Fiona. And so Neely is like, see, everything I believe is based on you in human form. And Serena's like, but I didn't get turned from a human into a werewolf. Like, I was born, like you said, with this genetic mutation. So like, she's sort of poking holes in this ideology that Constantine has created. And Neely says during this part, like, I've never even read a book before. So like, how would I know this? And that part like really broke my heart. And I think it breaks Serena's heart and why she has like a soft spot for these like young humans in this, because she realizes like they truly have no access to any information that would like lead them to any other conclusion other than like, this is the end all be all.
For such a short amount of book, I think Ali does explore a lot of the complexities into this and gives us a glimpse of what the cult followers are going through and what they're seeing, without kind of digging into the detail. Like, Ali's meeting the reader with some of the information that we know, but it gives us enough of depth and trying to understand what's going on. So I like how she does that.
And she does a good job of making it like, it's dark. Like the first time we were introduced to the cult, like a very tragic event happens, but it's not like she doesn't go too far into it. Like it strikes the balance between being like not just sensational. It does serve the story. And I think she does such a good job of that. I don't know. I love that storyline. But I think we should get in the fun stuff. Should we get into the celibacy pact and the Cohen of it all and the sexy stuff?
Yes.
Because come on, let's be real. That's why we're all here.
We should talk about it. So what did you think about our hippie boy Cohen? That's how I imagine him.
No,
a man bun.
I imagine him as like a lumberjack, not a hippie.
I guess you're right. I couldn't get past the man bun, so in my mind that went away.
The man bun is tough. I know, and I think it was really funny. Okay, so Cohen is the leader of Northwest Pack. Like we said, we know from like page 1, he is Serena's mate, but he's keeping her at an arm's length, and Serena doesn't really care because she thinks she's dying. So she's like, cool. There's like not really, we think, a mutual attraction, of course, because the book would have no stakes otherwise. But like what made me laugh so much about him is like he's described as sort of a father figure to Lo, and he's described as being like this older guy. And then you find out that he's 36 and you're like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like that old to me. It like kind of hurt my heart a little bit.
So he was 36. I read it as he was 41.
No, he's 36, I thought.
Okay, because I thought like he came into power when he was 15. And then he's been for over 20 years. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, I don't know. I was thinking he was 41.
Even 41 is young, but like 36 is like, I think that's still young. I don't know. But I mean, she's supposed to be like what, 24, 25, 26?
Mm-hmm,
okay.
25. Yeah, so it's a 10-year gap then. Okay, that's better because I put it in my notes about like, oh my gosh, like I think Ali really likes a little bit of an age gap because I was thinking like, oh, he's 41 and she's 25. So she's like easing us into some age gap stuff. But okay, 36 and 25, that's not bad.
Even 41 and 25 though, like I think that's like pretty young to be a father figure to someone. Like I know, like, I don't know. I thought like someone 10 years older is not really going to be a father figure. But then you find out that Cohen took over the pack as the alpha, the Northwest Alpha, when he was 15. So he has been like a paternal figure to a lot of people for a long time. So I guess I kind of understood that. I don't know. I love Cohen. He is like my kind of guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like him too. No man born for me, but I think he was also a very realistic character of somebody dealing with. He landed in a position that he just kind of had to do it because he was trying to protect the rest of his pack. And he had to challenge a couple of the previous ones. And that's how he ended up being the de facto alpha leader. And I love that he is very open about like, I enjoy this. This is what I was born to do. I love it. I don't know how to do anything else. And I think I kind of really appreciate that. Like, I think this is kind of what brings us into the book about this whole act of duty versus love type of situation. And I think Ali did a really good job with it because you can kind of see that his struggle of trying to choose between his mate and his duty of being the alpha, because I don't think we've talked about it, but as part of being backing up a long, long time ago when all of the packs were created, one of the big things that were created that was put into the rules was that all of the alpha leaders needed to practice celibacy, because if you had a mate or you had a partner or something, that could potentially lead to the alpha putting his family above the rest of the pack. So in their mind, being able to be celibate, not having any emotional relationships or anything like that is going to make for the alpha to be a better leader. And this Northwest pack is one of the few packs left that is still honoring this because of some of the events that happened 20 years ago when Cohen became alpha, which is his mom used to be the pack leader. And then she was baited by luring her family into one of the traps. And then they're like, we have to be able to practice the celibacy again because it's putting the entire pack in danger. So I think that's kind of when we see a lot of this duty versus love type of situation and how are they going to be able to do it. And that's why Cohen keeps Serena at an arm's length and plays it very cool. Like, yeah, you're my mate, but it doesn't really matter. I'm never gonna sleep with you. Like, I don't find you. I don't think he said like I don't find you attractive, but he's more like I don't need any of this. I'm just letting you know because I needed to let you know, and that's it. He was very like nonchalant about it.
I agree. I think why I find him to be like maybe one of my favorite MMCs in a long time, and something I'm realizing I really love is that he is powerful. And he is comfortable in being a powerful human being. Like, like you said, he likes being alpha. He's a good alpha. He likes settling disputes. He likes being in control. And I like that. I find that really attractive. But the thing that makes it so balanced is that he is also incredibly restrained. Like, restraint is his superpower. Like, he is living in a house with Serena, who is his mate, who he is biologically drawn to, and he's able to keep himself away from her. Like, he is the strongest wolf in the pack, but he never exerts that power over others for anything other than to keep the greater good kind of going. And that for me is like but he doesn't talk about that. Like, he doesn't talk about how awesome he is. And like that to me is very hot. That like quiet confidence, that quiet control, that quiet like, yeah, it's like daddy energy. It's hot. Like, I loved it.
I think you're right. I think it is the quiet power, the one that is the most intimidating. Because I think if you have somebody that is just like, look how powerful I am and I'm going to have to distribute, like, oh, that's kind of a turn off. But he was just like very demure about it.
Very, very demure. And I think like just to get into some of the spicy stuff, like, big spoiler alert, we essentially learn that like a big side effect of this CSD that Serena is experiencing is like incredible horniness, and she gets these fevers or whatever. And because of the celibacy clause, like he's trying to like keep her safe but not break the clause, and so he essentially just like bosses her around during like a spicy scene. And I have to say, like, Ali really ratcheted up her spice for me this time. I was like, this is the best she's ever done. This is the best she's ever been at it. Like, I loved it.
I think what Ali is really good about, it's the build up. The way that she's able to build up the tension where it's not the traditional sense of a spicy scenes where we're going to see, I want to get really technical here, but you're not going to see a lot of like penetration. It's just a lot more like foreplay and the build up to it. Ali, she is a queen for being able to do this. And I like those even more than when you're seeing a lot of like the full on sex scenes into the book. I think just the way that she does a lot of the build up, how she plays with like the smells and the sensations, the bossing, like the ordering around that you were saying earlier, Lindsay, she does it in such a classy, masterful way that you're just like, you can't help but fan yourself when you're reading these books and these scenes.
1000%. And here's the genius of it all, is that she incorporates the biology of like wolves and like werewolf lore into the spice in a way that's seemingly impossible. Like, werewolves are, for me, like, it's kind of tough on the like sexy side because it's like it's a dog. They're kind of like dirty. I don't know. It just doesn't like really do it for me. But somehow she makes like the gland, the like licking of her neck to like get her scent glands. The like, my favorite thing in the entire thing was the nesting, where they're talking about how she like, as part of her like, you know, period, we learned that she like she's basically in heat. That she needs to nest and like build like a literal comfy space of like smells and like textures and things like that. And like that experience of building a safe environment in which to like experience desire with a partner is like, it's so fucking smart. I thought it was so good.
She does such a good job about building up instincts. So we can kind of see that Serena is also not very knowledgeable about, you know, the werewolf anatomy. She didn't know about the knot. She didn't know about any of these things. But I love that Ali is bringing us into this instinct world where she started doing the nesting and she didn't know why. And that's because like she wants to be able to keep like her partner safe and comfortable. And that's why she's doing this. But she's just following her instincts. The whole thing about biting the neck or the glands, she didn't know about any of that, but she instinctively wanted to be able to do it because she knew that it felt good. And that's kind of what she wanted to do. Also, one of the really good call outs is like, when she's going through these hardcore episodes in the middle of the night where she's sweating a lot and everything, she instinctively knows that her smell could potentially be a problem for Cohen, and she tries to hide it from him. And I think it's not that she innately knows about all of these things. She just kind of understands and has this like nature raw feeling of like, what are some of the things that I can do to not make him uncomfortable, but also how do I know about all of this? And I kind of love that Ali's kind of bringing this animal instincts into play, which kind of makes it a little bit harder in a way, because they're just kind of following their own like, this is what I want to do. I don't even know why I want to bite that gland, but I'm gonna do it because it looks amazing. And I love that she does that.
I agree. And I think like some of it is relatable. Like everybody loves their like partner's scent, you know, like if you've ever worn like a partner's like t-shirt or whatever, which is essentially what she does like a bunch in this book. Like you're like, yeah, even though it's like taken to an extreme because of like the nature of the characters, I think it is still relatable. And I don't know. I feel like this is one of Ali's best. I really love this book. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, everything about it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, I think she did a really good, I was really impressed with the foreplay and build up and the tension that was created between the two of them. It was done so well. Like she's just getting better and better. I don't know how this was possible because I love her already and now I love her even more.
I also just thought it was so funny, like huge spoilers. Again, like we said, these are all spoilers. Like we just learned that basically Serena, toward the end of the book, like she doesn't actually have CSD. She's actually just in heat. And basically it comes down to like, she's got to have sex with someone and it's either going to be Cohen or it's going to be someone else, but she's got to do it for her like own health and safety. Like I do love it. Did make me laugh that the premise was like she's gotta have sex or she's gonna die basically. Like I just thought that was like a funny stake to add. And I also thought it was funny that his seconds were like, we won't tell, go ahead, you know, like
I love that.
Yeah.
I think I really did like that though, because it also kind of says a lot about his leadership style, that people are willing to cover up this, you know, mishap. So because they look up to Cohen and they know that he wouldn't do this any other way. Like if it wouldn't be because like you're putting at risk Serena's life, like he wouldn't be doing this. And I think they kind of encouraged him to be like, yes, buddy, go have sex and we won't say anything. And I just kind of really appreciated that because I think it says a lot about his character and the way that he leads, that you have like these seconds that are willing to lie for him and potentially be in trouble with the assembly for covering up such a sacred, like the covenant, I guess, which is such a powerful
being,
thing.
like the governing body of the various pack leaders. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who are like sort of enforcing this. And I think like that moment is great because it like leads some levity into the book. Like it's toward the end, you're just like, you get the sex, you get the payoff, but it's also like funny because you're like, well, he's got to. So, but the other thing I think is like maybe the biggest takeaway from the book, that like sweet takeaway from the book that I really like, is that we ultimately learn like that the relationship becomes sanctioned because we learn that Cohen's relationships with people, whether they are like sexual or not, even with his seconds, like the takeaway is like those relationships make you a stronger leader, not a weaker leader. And his relationship with Serena makes him, he says this, like makes him stronger and not weaker. And so that's sort of why they're able to proceed. And I just love that that was the takeaway from the book, is like, how can you really be a good leader if you don't have freedom to like build bonds with people? I don't know. What did you think?
No, I agree. I think ultimately in the long run, I mean, I can't believe he lasted 20 years without being able to build that meaningful relationship and not hold a grudge against the assembly and his position of leadership. Exactly. So I find that kind of, I understand the basis of what they're trying to do. Like, you need to put the pack above anything else. But it's like, yeah, but then to your earlier point, we also have nature instincts. So if you're taking something away from somebody after they've discovered that their mate is there, that could potentially just ruin everything that you worked for if you're not giving them a little bit of a compensation. And the compensation is to go be with the mate.
I love that. But also, here's the other thing is like, we learn that it really like comes down to who the mate is. And we know from earlier on in the book that Serena is a caregiver to her core. She's taking care of Misery her entire life. She loves Anna. She's taking care of Anna. And then basically as soon as she arrives in the Northwest Pack, she builds these incredible bonds with all of Cohen's seconds because she's like feeding them, which is like, for me, baseline, like if you want to get me to love you, you can cook for me. And she does immediately. She's cooking for everyone at any given point. And I think that was so smart on Allie's part because it's such a good signifier of the kind of person who's like, I'm always going to look out for everyone around me, including my partner, but also people that mean something to my partner. And so it's like, right, of course their assembly is going to get on board because it's so obvious that Serena is the kind of person who's like, this pack means something to my partner, and so this pack means something to me too. I don't know. I love that.
Yeah, me too. I think it was done really well. And I think these are the type of, I think this is a relationship that I do think they're going to last. I think I always kind of think about that. Like, okay, after I read like a romance book, is this couple going to make it or not? And this is definitely one that has my Magda's approval. They're going to last because they just have a really good way of supporting each other and knowing each other so well that, I don't know, I feel like they're going to work. I think they care about each other so much and they support each other on like each of their individual endeavors that I think you need that. So I'm excited for these kids. They're going to do great.
I totally agree. Miscommunication too. Like, this is miscommunication trope done well, where the miscommunication is not based on the interior thoughts of the characters getting in their own way. Like, they say what's going on with them basically right away. Like, he tells Serena that he's his mate. She tells him, like, I'm fucked up right now, so I'm not in a position to like have a relationship with anyone. And like, really the miscommunication is like misunderstandings of external factors that they like can't control, like Cone having the celibacy clause and her thinking that she has a death sentence. And I loved that use of miscommunication. Or it wasn't like annoying that they weren't apart. It was like, oh, it like makes so much sense that they can't be together. Like, here we go. We don't have to deal with them like getting over themselves. And I love that because you're like, right, that's a relationship that's gonna work. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I completely understand, like, okay, cool, dude, you're my mate, but I just met you. I'm not going to tell you that I have this, like, disease. I'm like, cool, buddy, you're my mate. Let me tell you how I'm dying very slowly. And you need to take care of me.
Love.
Like, that's not going to happen. And also, like, he's not going to tell her, like, okay, cool, I've been in this celibacy pact because of all of the politics of my relationships. Like,
that resulted in the death of my parents. Like, let's get into our traumas right away. Yeah, it like was a natural unfolding of information.
Exactly. It's not like they knew each other, because I feel like a lot of miscommunication tropes happen towards the halfway through the book or later on. And I'm like, at this point, there should be enough communication between those two partners that they should be able to talk to each other. For this one, it happens really early on, but it makes sense because they just met each other like 2 hours ago. So that's fine.
Chef's kiss, 1000% that, what you just said. Yes.
No. I love it. And I know that you made a note about here, which is also one of my favorite thing about this epilogue on this book. which is the boring factor, that all they wanted to do after they got together and they're living the lives, that they're living a boring life, and then they were so happy with it. This to me is the idea epilogue. I think that's all we want from an epilogue, is like, are they making it okay? And are they just living like a normal life? And in this case, they are. They're just like have their little routine where Cohen goes and deals with like, you know, the pack stuff. She's working for like as a contractor doing something else. And they just have normal lives. And to me, that is just so satisfying.
I 1000% agree. Like the most romantic thing to me is someone who understands that like the best life is like dealing with the minutia of being with a partner day to day, like cooking for them, dealing with them, like coming home from work and dealing with work stresses, like dealing with their friend dynamics. Yeah, I loved that part of the book. And I completely agree. Like we said this in our epilogues episode, like nothing happens. It's not like, oh, she had a baby, there's a wedding. Like it was the best epilogue because it was just like, here's a glimpse in the day of the life, you know? You're so right.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. It's just like, we're just going to do like a little bit bird eye view of their life. And I can just see them just hanging out around the kitchen as she's cooking. And he's telling her about some of the disputes that he had to deal with that day. And
playing with their little dog.
Love. Yes. I love that too. I also love all of the animal love that we get to see in this. Like we still get, what was the name of the cat from Bride? Sprinkles?
Sparkles.
I forget. Sparkles.
Sparkles and Twinkles is the dog.
Sparkles and Twinkles. I really love that because I mean, we know that Ali's a really big animal lover, so I love to see that being thrown throughout the book too. I don't know.
And just sitting on a porch in the forest, drinking tea with the dog, like, come on, that's the dream.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I love that. You know, one of the things that I did love about Serena as well is the whole aspect that when she was being driven around, she was just taking in nature and the mountains and everything, and how in awe she was of the landscapes in the Northwest. And I just found that so relatable because I'm also the type of person that when I'm driving, I'm just like with my cheek against the window looking up and like trying to take in all of like the landscapes. I just found it really relatable because that is something that I too do.
I get it. I know that's like one of my favorite parts of the United States. So I really, this book was like built for me to love, and it paid off.
It's so good. It's so good. I really loved it. I think it's a fun read, you guys. But you know, serious question, Lindsay, how do you feel about the mate trope?
I like it.
How do you feel about it? I think I do too.
I don't like it like generally, like I'm not a person who believes like soul mates. I think that's kind of like ridiculous. Just because like you change so much throughout your life and it doesn't give you like a lot of choice. I like it in this where you can like choose not to like have your mate. I like that she included that. And I also think it works here because she's very invested in like the biology, like the animalistic biology of werewolves. And so it makes sense from like a scientific standpoint. And so I buy it. It feels real, you know? Mm-hmm. So I liked it here. What about you?
Yeah. I think I liked it too. And I think I liked it because it's not one that like, just because you're mates doesn't mean that you're going to get along with it, and you can reject a mate. So I feel like it still gives the person like some sort of agency to be able to decide whether they want to be able to pursue that relationship or not. And we can kind of see that between Cohen and Serena, like towards the first half of the book, they're getting to know each other. They're getting to like learn about each other. So you can kind of see this natural progression of the relationship that is not just like, oh my God, he's so hot and I love him. Like, yeah, they still think that, but they know that there has to be something deeper than that. And I appreciate that gets taken into consideration in this book. It's not just like passion, sex, blah. No, it's a deeper connection and meaning.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, loved it.
I think that's it. Oh, I guess funny call out when she finds out that she is actually gonna die. The first thing that she does is go to buy sunscreen.
So funny.
And I thought that was because she was like, well, if I'm gonna initially when she's like, I'm gonna die, why do I need to go put sunscreen on? That seems like an older problem me. And I'm don't have to worry about it. But now when she's like, oh shit, I'm actually gonna leave. Like, guess let's go put in some
Gotta
sunscreen.
Have good skin. No sun damage for this gal.
That's how you know a millennial wrote this book.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you? Anything else?
No, I loved this. I loved this book.
I did too. Yeah, it was I can't, yeah, I didn't think I was going to be able to like this more than Bride, but I did. She did so good.
Ali
Ali
Ali's getting
Hazelwood.
stronger and stronger. All she has to do is write 300 books a year, I guess. It's crazy, her output.
I recently finished reading her Hat for Slayer book, which is one of the short stories, and it was so good, Lindsay. Like one of my favorite short stories that she has written so far. It was so good.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
It's really good, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. She just keeps getting better and better. Like
so
I think
good.
We've talked to Julia London in the past, which is another author that we loved. And she says that writing, it's a muscle. Like the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And, she tries to write like 1,000 words every day, regardless. Like even if she's on vacation, she's writing. And I wonder, this is what Ali's doing now, because she's putting out so much content that she's just like, I got this. I know where I want the story to go. And she's just like, puts this incredible output.
Yeah. 1,000%. Like it just felt so like layered, textured. It felt like a payoff. The beginning tied back to Bride. Bride felt like everything in Bride was important for me, which is like, I love that in a sequel. Like I want to be like, oh, I read the first book for a reason. And it just, everything has a payoff. I just love this book.
As a whole, highly recommend. Totally love this book. Make sure to read Bride. If you, for whatever reason, stuck through and you hadn't read it, go read Bride and then go read this book. You guys are going to totally love it. It was so fun. But with that, thank you for listening to Literally Books, the podcast,
where we say what we read
and we mean what we say. Bye.
Bye.